Now let's talk for a second about the difference between sympathy and empathy. What is this spoon theory anyways? What are we even talking about? In this audio, I don't use any narration or any type of description. My name's Angela and I'm a visually impaired designer. Building empathy for those with disabilities. Hey everyone, what's up? In today's video, I want to talk to you about a project I did in grad school. But first, I want to tell you about the spoon theory, and I want to talk about how we can build empathy for people who have disabilities. And this would also include people with invisible disabilities. For those of you who haven't heard the term invisible disability, it's someone who has a disability that you can't necessarily tell they have one by looking at them or even interacting and talking with them. You wouldn't be able to tell that they have a disability. And this is a topic that I'll be covering in a future video. For those of you who are new to my channel, I was born with a rare eye condition called aniridia. And this means essentially that the iris in my eye didn't fully develop as a child. And as a result, I've been visually impaired my whole life. As someone who's visually impaired and a designer, I get asked a lot the question, how can I build empathy for someone with a disability when I don't have one myself? I think this is a great question, and I think it's a good start that people are asking this. Now, a couple of suggestions of what you might do to better understand. First, I would try asking them questions and be sensitive to the fact that not everyone is ready to talk about their disabilities. Now, there's more ways that we can educate ourselves about disabilities than just reaching out to people one-on-one. There's plenty of books out there you can read to better understand, and articles online. You can also follow some organizations or foundations that have been created to educate people about specific types of disabilities and to be a support system for people who are family and friends. Another common way for people to try to understand those with disabilities is to create some kind of simulation where you can try to understand their point of view. So now what do I mean by that? There's people who would maybe put on a blindfold and try to do activities blindfolded to try to understand what it's like to be blind. Or people try to put in sound canceling earphones in and try to interact with people while not being able to hear them. And while these aren't 100% accurate, it can kind of help you, give you a glimpse or help you a little bit to kind of understand what it is like temporarily. Now let's talk for a second about the difference between sympathy and empathy. When you sympathize with someone, you feel bad for them, or sometimes you even pity them and feel bad for the situation that they're in. Whereas when you empathize with someone, you try to truly feel what they're feeling and find ways to relate to what they're doing. Common phrase would be, try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, or perhaps look through someone else's eyes. Alright, let's talk about the spoon theory. What is this spoon theory anyways? What are we even talking about? It all originated when a young girl named Christine was spending time with a friend at a restaurant or a diner. And her friend asked her to try to explain to her what it felt like to have lupus. And it can be a difficult thing to explain a disability to someone who hasn't experienced it themselves. So what did Christine do? She went around the restaurant and grabbed all the spoons that she could find, and she stuck them on the table. She explained that these spoons represented energy that people have to exert in a day. With her theory in mind, if we're talking about someone who has to get out of bed and with lupus, maybe that only takes one spoon for the average person who doesn't have lupus. But for someone who does have lupus, it would take them maybe 5 spoons of energy. And an example of someone with a visual impairment, maybe someone who's trying to read something that's not very accessible would take 5 spoons, whereas someone who can see well, it would only take 1 spoon. Everyone has a different amount of spoons that they can use in one day. And once those spoons are out, then they're out of energy and they aren't able to do more things. So this relates to people with disabilities specifically because when you have to do tasks that take more energy than the average person, normally someone wouldn't even think about these types of things, where you're trying to even read the label on something but you can't read it, or you're trying to find your way around but you can't see what you're looking for, or you're trying to hear a conversation from afar but you can't hear them, so you have to adapt and get closer. These all take extra energy in our day. So as a designer, my goal would be to help someone who has a disability and has to do a task. Maybe it takes them 5 spoons of energy to do one, and my goal would to decrease that and maybe make it 3 or even 2 spoons of energy in order to do a task. So just like Christine's friend in this story, it can be hard to understand those with disabilities and empathize with them. I created a project with a montage of 3 stories that are based on true stories of people who are visually impaired or blind, and they shared a story about a time when they struggled having a disability. In this audio, I don't use any narration or any type of description. I wanted it to be only the environmental sounds that you would hear if you were in the actual situation and dialogue that would happen between the people who are in the situation. The hope is that you can immerse yourself in the story and feel like you are the person in the story. I would highly suggest that you put headphones in so that you can optimize your experience, and if you close your eyes, it will help you immerse even more into the stories. I will now share with you my project.
Welcome. Pick any seat you would like.
Thank you. Oh, this is a full concert. I will have to climb over people.
Please get off of me!
Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't know someone was sitting in this seat. Is this our stop?
Yes, I think so. Which way do we need to go?
I think we need to go 5 blocks south.
Let's cross the street here.
What is going on? I can't see anything. Everything is so blurry.
Hey! Let go of me!
That is not Marissa. Okay, breathe. Just get across the street, and she will find you. Okay, I'm okay.
Let's get this watermelon.
Okay, let's go to checkout.
Ooh, what is this? It feels interesting.
That is a woman's blouse.
Ah, did you notice I grabbed her clothing? She isn't saying anything. Oh my goodness, that is so embarrassing. Is she still standing there?
I hope you enjoyed that and you were able to see a glimpse into what it would be like to be visually impaired and blind. Well, that's everything I have for you today in this video. Thank you so much for supporting me, and don't forget to give a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel below and turn on the notification bell if you would like to get notifications when I have future videos coming out. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye!